Baseball is dead.
Rest in peace.
It is a Monday. It's a Joseph episode. Perfect timing. Perfect timing. Tough weekend for the Bravos, Joe. Great weekend for Shohei, though. I mean, I feel like it's kind of like a win-loss. Like, do you come out of that feeling 50-50, or are you kind of like licking your wounds right now?
Fuck you. I don't feel 50-50, but
you don't feel 50-50?
It's better than Freddie Freeman hitting 2 homers off you, 3 homers, and not getting out once. That's a lot better than that.
Does it feel better when it's the 3-sword samurai just slicing you up?
Yeah. It definitely feels better.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
I feel like it shouldn't count, honestly. Like, I feel like that should be, if you're a pitcher and you give up 2 bombs to Shohei, it shouldn't count on your ERA.
Did you see what his OPS was over the weekend?
Starts with a 2.
It was Cal Ripken Jr.'s consecutive game streak when he broke it, 2-1-3-1.
2-1-3-1.
I looked at the numbers and I was like, there's no way. It was a nice little tribute to Cal. Shout out to Cal Ripken Jr. Just did his son's podcast, Ryan. Did a podcast the other day with Ryan Ripken. Check it out. But Shohei Ohtani, 8 for 12, 3 bombs, drove in 6, and he also walked twice. This is from Sarah Langs, our friend Sarah Langs. Shohei Ohtani's 25 extra base hits are the most in a player's first 35 games with the Dodgers since at least 1901. A lot has happened since 1901.
I was going to say they've had some good players roll through there since 01.
Since 01. Yeah.
That is it not everything that you expected from him, though, in this lineup?
Well, he's answering the question.
Supposed to,
like,
how it was supposed to play out.
Did he did it? I think it was an interview. I'm pretty sure we talked about it on the podcast, but it was also an interview I believe he did with Harold Reynolds where it was Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, and Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah.
And
who's going to hit more? Who's going to
Well, yeah, it was that interview, but I think we were talking about how in the year where he's not pitching, does that mean we can expect him to be even better at hitting because he has more time to A, recover, and B, prepare? Not saying he wasn't preparing. Obviously, he was doing plenty of preparation from the hitting side of things, but half of the time it was going to pitching because he was preparing in between starts for his next start. Now he doesn't have to do that, or at least this year. And we're kind of seeing what the results of that would be. Are we being robbed of maybe one of the greatest hitters that we've ever seen?
Whoa. I mean,
I'm just saying, if he's not pitching, Dallas, if he's not pitching, we're seeing it. He's a better hitter. He's a better hitter. He is.
You're looking. No. Time out. It's you asked a question and then you just continued running down the street and making more of the story up, which is fine, but you got to slow down.
Not making the story up.
No. He's
hitting 364.
That's great.
With an 11-11 OPS. Those would be both career highs.
Fantastic. We are not being robbed at any point in time when the treat is what he's capable of doing on both sides of the ball. That's you can't forget about that. Well, so it's not that we're being robbed.
We might be being robbed of seeing him be the hitter that he is right now. This is all career highs. Everything that he's doing right now, batting average, slug, on base, OPS plus, like everything is career highs right now.
But what he provides when he's healthy on the mound is what you have to consider.
I get it. It's cool.
So that's why I look at it like, no, we're not being robbed, because what's on the other side of this? Him doing stuff just like this, maybe not to this extent, because you just, as you said, it's a career high in these categories. So that is what it is. But if you take a sliver of that, which is the conversation we always have, and then you take what he's capable of doing on the mound, there's no way you pick just the offensive player. Nobody in the history of baseball does that. You don't do that. Nobody on this panel does that. So that's why it can't be looked at as him sort of robbing us by just being a pitcher and hitter and not just a hitter. But I get what you're saying. I get what you're getting at is this what we could expect every time, or just about every time, if he's never going to pitch again? And I think we'd all love to say yes, but this is just what happens when you have or not just what happens, but this is what you like to think would happen if you have catchers that were able to somehow figure out a way to hone their craft offensively more and not have to spend as much time and dedicate as much time to the craft of catching and game calling. You'd like to think that there would be a uptick in offense, which is why a guy like JT Realmuto is as valuable as he is, because of what he provides not only defensively and game calling wise, but from that perspective, the offense is almost a bonus, and it's some of the best offense you're getting at that position. So I think the reason you feel like you're being robbed is because you know what he's capable of in totality, but you always wondered what it would look like if he just did one or the other. Like, would the pitching performance be that much better if he didn't have the responsibilities of hitting? I don't know.
Maybe.
But I think we're fine. Well, I think it's safer to say that you would feel the greater impact how we're feeling it right now. And that's what I was getting at by, isn't this what we expected? To put him in this kind of lineup without the responsibilities of pitching, isn't this what we all wanted to see? Isn't this what we all expected? Like, you plant him in the lineup with two other MVP candidates, top tier MVP candidates.
Yeah.
And he doesn't have to worry about bullpen days, recovery, any of that. The dude can just rake. Every time he wakes up, he thinks about hitting. He thinks about pounding the ball the other way. Like, that's where his mindset is right now. And like, Ohtani's baseball mind, centrally focused on one aspect of the game, it looks like it results in career highs across the board.
Joseph, do you have some thoughts on this about how Shohei without the pitching responsibility is putting up career numbers offensively? Do you think that this is something that he just would have been doing anyway? It's his age 29 season. It's one of his peak years. Would he have done this anyway, or are we seeing a greater Shohei because he's not pitching?
We'll never know. I mean, I'm sure it's got to be a little helpful to have more time to practice batting. I'm sure he's also probably doing a fuck ton of work in rehab. I've heard that's like a lot of time and effort. So I don't know if that's more work or less work than actually being a starting pitcher. But the numbers don't lie, Jared. Most hits, most doubles, most homers, highest batting average, highest slugging percentage, highest OPS, most total bases, second in the league in WAR, 2.4 WAR. He's on pace for 11 WAR season as a DH, bro.
That's crazy.
I'm not going to look it up. It's never happened before, ever.
Here's
what's the highest WAR ever for a DH? I want to know that.
I know that as of today,
it's got to be Ortiz.
I was going to say Poppy.
Poppy in 05? Poppy in 06?
I don't know the answer. Jay, are you looking it up? Okay.
Yeah,
I know that he, as of today, May 6th, he has 2.4 WAR. That's more WAR than any DH has had up to this point by a lot. Manny was second at 1.9.
David Ortiz's career high, shockingly enough, 6.4 in 2007.
6.
I don't know what, like, out of all the David Ortiz seasons that I can recall, 07 was not they won a championship that year, but like 06 was the year he hit 54 and drove in 137. 05 was the year that he hit 47 and drove in 148. He was a runner-up for MVP that year. And 07, that was like his batting average year. He had 332 and slugged 445 with a 1066 OPS. So yeah, Shohei is probably going to blow past the record for wins above replacement by a DH this year.
Which is Edgar Martinez and Frank Thomas tied. Edgar Martinez is 1995 and Frank Thomas is 1991. Both were with 7.0 wins above replacement. Also
Did they
ahead
DH
of Ortiz.
The whole year?
Also, no, this is minimum 50% at DH.
Yes, they cheated.
So
Ortiz was a true DH.
Well, hold on. We're not just going to let you throw that out there and then not verify it, okay? So what do you want, 75, 80%? What do you want?
100%. You got to be a DH. Shohei is going to be a true DH.
That's...
I'm going to put in 99 just so we don't get any funky business on the searches. But let's see. Hold on. Let's see. It'll come back very quickly. 99% of your time at DH.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, this didn't work out either technically because David Ortiz would finish second there by this metric behind Travis Hafner's 2005.
Do it, Pronk. Do it, Pronk.
Yeah.
People, Ortiz was better. Ortiz was better than Hafner at their respective peaks, but people... Travis Hafner was like 95% of David Ortiz at his very best. Like Travis Hafner was so fucking good. Anyway, there's your answers.
Donkey.
Yeah,
Ohtani's going to smash that.
Well, here's the question too for Ohtani. Does he have more at bats right now under his belt at this point in the season than he has had at any other point in any other season?
What does that
I would
mean?
have to think so.
Oh,
Definitely. And he's had the extra couple days with starting in Korea, plus no rest days. He had one rest day. So he's had to have had the most.
yeah,
I
he's
just
already had
meant in-
163 plate appearances. Last year, he didn't even clear 600.
Yeah, so at this point in time in his career, like up to May 6th, over the course of his entire career, I got to believe he's logged more at bats this season than he has any other season.
So he
to this
hits
point.
50. He hits 50 bombs this year. Easy.
Well,
Yeah.
also
If he
what
stays
I'm
healthy.
getting at, is for him to be setting high watermarks in each one of these categories and have been done so with more at bats, which means conceivably more time and more opportunities for him to not produce at this rate. He has taken all of those opportunities and capitalized on them. He has cashed those opportunities in. Those are resulting in 8 for 12 over a series with an OPS north of 2,300. That's what that looks like.
2100.
Or 2,100, sorry.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'll say this now. I'll put it out there. I also think there's a chance he goes 40-40 this year. Because right now he's on pace for 40-30, and that just seems like something like it's probably his only chance to ever do that because
To
he's not
do it,
pitching.
Joe. It's so funny, dude. It's so funny you say that because I've been, and I don't want to say it like this, but it almost is like just kind of
40
like
is
puts,
beneath him.
No. I was going to say it almost puts a bow on, and it would be a very like backhanded, like it's just my brain working like, oh, you know what else Trout didn't do?
Ooh.
wow, what a fucking
Wow.
unnecessary comment.
I
That
know,
is.
I
Jesus.
know.
I actually feel for Angels fans on this one.
God,
Totally,
But that-
they're just listening. Totally,
But that leads
unnecessary.
that leads me down that path of, you know, hey, like I just
Yeah,
just
'cause
one
you're
more
a
thing I
twisted
wanted to
fuck.
one more thing I
Yeah.
wanted to do. One more thing I wanted to add to my, like, because how many, and then he would ask, right? Well, you guys got to see it with Mike. How many times did you and Mike get to share? Oh,
What does it mean to be a masochist, but for other people? What's that word? Like you
sadist.
Yeah, so he enjoys other people's pain.
Yes.
Yeah, Dallas is a sadist,
Yep. No doubt.
but he's
about
also a masochist as well. It goes.
it.
It's a
Classic
two-way
case.
street. Yeah,
yeah.
he's a masochist sadist. Masochist. Yes.
Two quick things on the Ohtani stuff. To your guys' point about like the 40-40 or you know what that's going to look like. Don't forget the doubles too. And I know he hasn't hit a double in a little bit, but he still leads the league with 14.
Yeah.
So
he's
going
got
over the wall, Jayhay.
So right. No, I'm saying sometimes they're going to be homers, sometimes they're going to be doubles, and
Yeah.
right now he's getting the homers where he wasn't necessarily early, but he has a share of the league in both. And like, you know, whatever. I think we said he's on pace for 40 homers and approximately 50 doubles. The last time that happened in a single season was 2005. So that is an exceptionally rare thing on its own. That was Derek Lee.
Do we have like a 40-40-40? A 50-50-50?
Let's see. In the wild card era, that is 50-50-50. No,
Yeah.
the last even 50-50 season was Albert Bell in 1995. So let me see. There is no 50-50 season. I'll tell you that right now.
50-50 is
Yeah.
in 50 homers, 50 doubles.
I'm talking 50-50-50 homers, 50 doubles, 50 bags.
There's no way that's ever
Hold
happened.
on. The most stolen bases in a 40 homer, 50 double season. So just even lowering the threshold
Sure.
is 15 by Derek Lee in 2005. So Ohtani, if he does
Ohtani's
on
always
his current
there.
pace,
Yeah.
even if he does 40, 50, 20, that'll be the first time that's ever happened. And there's only been 2 instances of a guy going 40, 50, and even having double-digit stolen bases. The only other instance, in addition to Derek Lee, is Lou Gehrig in 1927.
Damn.
So
and-
there is no combination of doubles, homers, and stolen bases like what Ohtani is delivering right now.
How many doubles did Ronnie hit last year?
Stand by, please.
Because that would be 40, 70, whatever.
So Ronnie hit 35 doubles last season. So he had 35, 40, 70. I mean,
that's-
obviously, there's never been 40, 70. So there's never been 40, 70, anything else, right? So you could throw any doubles number out there that you wanted to. I mean, Ohtani's not going to approach 70 stolen bases. Nobody is this season, I don't think. But
Ellie De La Cruz.
Ellie.
Yeah, maybe.
Ellie.
Yeah, probably Ellie. I don't think outside of that it's going to happen. The only other thing I wanted to say on Ohtani is that it certainly looks like he's benefiting from not pitching, but that is in part because it's happening at the beginning of the season and we're tracking it basically every day. He has had many, many stretches in his career where, while he was pitching, where he has hit much better than this. Like this is, I look, this is the 94th best 35 game stretch of his career. By OPS.
That's
now
a
that
whole
counts like
35
that
game
counts
stretches.
like the same streak over and over again in some cases because it's like one day later and then one day later. But I mean, he has had, for example, the best 35 game streak of his career was from June 6th to July 18th of last season, where he posted an OPS of 1390. So just, we'll see, but he's playing great right now. That's not to take anything away. It's just, he's also done this and more while pitching.
That's true.
And that is why I feel like we're not necessarily being robbed.
Yes, that's
but
what
it's
I
a
would
great
call on that too.
It's a great treat. It's a wonderful treat.
I have to say this. It bothers me. Like, so I love that he's on the Dodgers because it's a big market. It's an awesome lineup. It's LA. They're going to be going to the playoffs. I can't wait to see him in the playoffs.
West
It
Coast.
bothers me how now that he's a Dodger, whenever I tweet about Shohei, I kind of get the Ben Verlander treatment where people are like, shut the fuck up, dude. Fuck you and fuck Shohei. I'm like, whoa, like why? Like now I feel like I can't enjoy Shohei the same way because he has so many haters now that he's a Dodger. I don't like that. I don't like that.
You should talk to Ben. You guys should
How he deals with it.
You guys should figure that out. Yeah.
This is, I don't know. You're dealing with something that I can't fully relate to on scale because of the type of responses you're getting. But just in terms of like baseball fans in general are always going to take, and listen, pot calling the kettle black, right? But baseball fans are always going to take the opportunity to bitch at almost anything.
Mm-hmm.
And the marketing of baseball players is maybe the most ridiculous and hypocritical of those instances, because if a guy is not put out there enough, nobody will tell you faster than baseball fans that baseball is doing an ass job marketing their stars, right? Mm-hmm. Whatever that means. Nobody can really tell you what that means necessarily, but they will tell you that they're doing a bad job at it.
Well, Orioles fans are pissed that Colton Cowser doesn't have a milk deal right now.
It's like everybody's always going to be mad about that, even whether they are doing a good job or not. They've done a bad job for a long time. I don't think that's the case now. But and on the other hand, if a guy is properly marketed, which I would say that Shohei Ohtani is, because he's, as we've stated many times, he's the biggest star the sport has had since at least Jeter, if not Griffey. Yeah. Then they're going to complain that he's being shoved down their throats and that anybody who likes Ohtani is just a Johnny come lately or whatever. And it's just like, if you can't still appreciate Shohei Ohtani, then I have almost no time for that, regardless of what team he plays on. It's a very special viewing experience, even if he's just hitting.
You got to just leave those people where they're at. You got to leave them. Yeah. You got to leave them by the wayside. Those people who want to argue about how he's not good at this and he's not good at that and he's only good at this because he's not doing that. Like, there's no time. Those are people who wake up and want to yell at the wall. They want to argue about how water's not wet. Like, let them do that over there.
It's not always wet.
I gotta say too, in terms of like what you guys started the conversation with about, this is what we expected, or what did we expect when he was just focused on hitting, that he would be better at hitting. I agree, but I go back to, and it's just one publication, but it is something of like a bellwether or an indication of the fact that ESPN ranked him as the 9th best player in 2024 in their top 100 list to start the season. And that to me is an indication that despite all we do to appreciate Shohei Ohtani, and it feels like he's very saturated, still not there yet. We're still not there yet as an entire industry appreciating him on the level that he needs to be appreciated at, because that was ridiculous on its face. And we're seeing why it's ridiculous right now, because we already knew he was one of the very best hitters in baseball. And the idea that he wouldn't be, what does 5 or 10% better look like when he's focused on only hitting? I just can't, I just can't get that out of my mind.
Hold on. For more context here, to make it even more impressive, what Shohei Ohtani is doing is just brought to my attention. The league, all of Major League Baseball is collectively hitting 239 this year, which is the second lowest mark in baseball history. And he's doing this. He's putting up video game numbers. We're talking maybe 50-50-50 season for Shohei Ohtani in a year where, as of right now, across the league, offense is the second worst that it's ever been.
And he will still go underappreciated, in my opinion, even throughout the totality of his career. And I don't know how that could be possible, but I believe that people had hit a point of Ohtani fatigue so early because you had no reason to not talk about what he was doing. You should have been talking about everything he was doing, because it was the first time that it had been done in over 100 years. And then about 10 minutes later, he was doing everything that had never been done in baseball before. So if you missed that and you were like, oh yeah, whatever, then there's a good chance he's going to go underappreciated for you, because I don't know that we'll see that kind of dominance on both sides of the baseball consistently and consecutively like we saw. Don't know that that comes back around again. If you get flashes of that, that's fabulous, because that's still otherworldly. But I think the people who chose to put their head in their sand and chose to plug their ears because they were just tired of it, those are the ones who are going to miss out, because they're going to look back and go, fuck, historically, I don't have the context. I don't remember because you were telling me that, and I didn't want to, and it's gone. It's gone.
I want to tack on to what Jared said, because he brought up batting average, what Ohtani's doing, and where the league average sits right now. Obviously, OPS plus can shed some light on that. And it's a little early to be using this with any sort of like seriousness to it, but like it does shed a little bit of context. His current OPS plus would be the best in a single season, non-shortened, since Bonds in 2004. So
that was the underappreciated year.
So, and then the only other ones in basically our lifetime that are better than that are McGuire's 2008. Oh, I'm sorry, McGuire's 1998 and other Bonds seasons. Like that's it as far as offense. This is better. Like again, it's early. We're in May, but like at this current pace, it's better than what Judge did. It's better than what a couple years ago. It's better than, you know, anything we saw in the preceding in the era of Pujols or Trout or anything like that offensively, at least so far. Small sample size, caveats apply.
04, that's the walks on base record.
Correct.
Year.
That's the 232 walks, 232 on base percent.
Yes, 232, 120. So Jayhay, are you telling me, if you know, you know, are you telling me that what Aaron Judge did in the season to beat out Ohtani for another MVP is not as good as what Ohtani's doing right now? Ohtani's doing better?
I am telling you that, but Judge did do that over a full season, and the difference between what Ohtani is doing and what Judge did is marginal in Ohtani's favor. So if he does this over a full season and is basically peak Aaron Judge when he's just on offense, I think that will only... He might not have the hardware from that season, but I think that would benefit his legacy in much the same way.
Because it's almost
show
like
up to Aaron Judge's house, get the award back.
Yeah,
who knows when that's going to come on the dial, dude?
Because it's almost like you would take those two offensive seasons and stack them up against each other, and then you could take just like a marginal pitching performance and throw that onto either one of those guys' performances and be like, who would your MVP be now? And you'd be like, oh, well, that you mean to tell me that guy also pitched? Whoa. I mean, you're like, well, yeah, that did happen. Do you remember? Like, we don't have to play that game. That
we
was
need to
real.
get Dallas off this.
Forget OPS plus for it. Forget OPS plus for a second. Their actual OPS plus, or I'm sorry, their actual OPS is exactly the same.
Whoa,
1.111.
fucking bananas.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. That's crazy. So yeah,
that's some Wright Brothers shit for you.
Yes,
yeah,
yeah. People
Damn,
listening, if they listen to this podcast in 2022, they're having PTSD about Dallas going nuts about Aaron Judge versus Shohei Ohtani.
He was
so
right.
We're gonna tell you about the good folks at
Joe.
Underdog. Yeah, let's talk some Underdog here. The MLB season, it's in full swing, and Underdog Fantasy, they want to make it a lot more interesting. Underdog Fantasy is the easiest place to play fantasy sports. Playing their pick'em game is as simple as selecting higher or lower on player stats, strikeouts, total bases, home runs, and so much more. Make entries of all baseball, or you can mix and match across other favorite sports. You can win up to 100 times your money, and it's a ton of fun. Jayhay, I know you're a basketball guy. What NBA teams are you locked in on right now for the playoffs?
Well, I got to say, I was very zeroed in on Mavs and Pacers last round, and that really delivered. That looked pretty good.
What looks good now?
You know, I'm thinking that I'm going Knicks again.
Wow.
That's for sure. Against the Pacers. Yep, I'm gonna take the Knicks. The Pacers were a good ride last round, but I think it ends here. So yeah, I think that's my. I mean, obviously the Celtics are going to win their series. That pretty much goes without saying. I think the question is whether the Cavs get a single game off of them. That's not funny. That's
the truth.
I mean, the game one line, I think is 11. So we're starting in basically the same place that the Celtics Heat series started in.
That was like 14.
Yeah. So and the Heat have a lot more guts than this Cavaliers team as far as I'm concerned. So yeah, Celtics, Knicks. I mean, the Wolves are obviously up 1-0. I know the odds have flipped in that series against the defending champs. That's very exciting. And then Thunder Mavs. I'm going to go Mavericks.
Okay.
I'm going to go Mavericks, Luka.
Steve put me on to this. I'm rooting for Celtics, Knicks conference finals and Bruins, Rangers conference finals, just swapping games at the Gardens. That'd be fun. Badass. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be fun. I don't follow hockey closely enough to know that was a possibility, but I think you're very likely to get that. Not very likely, but
could happen.
But more likely than not to get that, at least in basketball.
Yeah. Jake, how are you feeling about the Bruins being able to get some revenge on Florida this year?
Yeah, I think, it's basically the same story as last year, flip. So this time it's going the Bruins' way.
Okay. All right. Well, stay tuned on that. Also, it's going to be a very exciting week for Boston sports fans. We got the Celtics in the playoffs. We got the Bruins in the playoffs, and we have Red Sox Braves in a 2-game set in Atlanta. And Chris Sale will be getting the ball against the Boston Red Sox on Wednesday. So big week for us over in here. Don't miss the action with Underdog Fantasy. Make sure you sign up with the promo code Jared, Jared, and Underdog will double your first deposit up to $100. That is Underdog Fantasy, promo code Jared, Jared. Okay. Big trade happened pretty much right after our last recording, and that saw Luis Arraez going from the Miami Marlins to the San Diego Padres. Passan had it. Of course he did. The Marlins are getting some head. Dylan Head. Woo Suck Go. What a name. And Nathan Martorella. Wow. But when I said, hey, man, the Padres moved Xander Bogaerts from shortstop to second base, and they just acquired a second baseman, the overwhelming response to that was, they're going to put him at DH, obviously. Why wouldn't they put him right? He's barely a second baseman. He's obviously going to be their DH. And I didn't want to throw any shade at Arraez because I'm a fan. I think he's a very entertaining player, both on and off the field. So I wouldn't be like, yeah, nice 719 OPS DH you got there. Obviously, he's going to hit around 300, but I mean, he's not doing much damage. Is that really your prototypical DH? But, it's an interesting move for the San Diego Padres who, again, traded Juan Soto, but traded for Dylan Cease. You trade for Dylan Cease after trading Juan Soto? That's great. Now you keep making moves. You bring in a dude that last year we were talking about the chance of him hitting 400. How do we feel about this move for the dads?
For the Padres, well, look at where they're at in the power rankings in terms of their power productivity offensively. I believe they're 6th in baseball in homers with 40 as a club. They are 5th in slugging as a club, 412.
That division sucks, by the way. They have a losing record and they're in second place.
I get it. They've scored 187 runs. That's second only to the Dodgers. They're hitting 259 as a team. That's second or tied for second with the Astros behind, you got it, the Dodgers. So as far as like supplementing the lineup with power, I think everybody understood that was not going to happen bringing Arráez in. This is all about bat to
getting
ball.
on base.
This is all about setting the table. That's exactly what this is. And you talk about setting on base. They are 8th in baseball as a team in on-base percentage as well, 325. So those things you feel like you're going to ratchet up, right? And it's all about trying to continue to provide run-scoring opportunities for guys behind them in the lineup. So whether it's about shoring anything up defensively, I don't want to call it an afterthought, but it's absolutely more about what this dude is going to bring to the table offensively to try to kickstart the offense, try to get that going.
And he walks. I mean, it's not like everyone's like calling him a singles merchant, but like he also walks. Like he's probably going to get on base somewhere around a 360 clip. I like that at the top of the lineup for setting the table for the Tatises and the Machados and the, I guess, Cronenworths of the world. Yeah.
But I mean, that's
Padres are only
be
a half game out of a playoff spot. The National League is fucking wide open. That like the NL sucks this year. So you might see a team be 500 and make the playoffs. Like that's how bad the field is after the division winners.
How's the NL suck if they have the 2 best teams, obviously.
Well, there's no length there. Like it's like if you had 2 boppers at the top of your order, then the rest of them were like fucking 600 OPS guys.
There's quite a chasm between the top 2 teams in the NL and the middle class in the NL as opposed to what's going on in the American League.
Yeah.
I do think you have to throw the Phillies in that upper class, though, if we're dividing it into classes. Yeah,
definitely.
I got my towel.
As far as Arráez goes, like, I don't know. I feel like there's 2 separate conversations going on. Like one, Luis Arráez going. Well, there's 3 really. Luis Arráez going to the Padres and him making that team better, which I think we're all on the same page is true. They're better before acquiring him or since acquiring him than they were before. They gave up minor league talent to acquire a batting champion. And no matter what you think about Arraez's overall impact or his very limited defensive value at this point, or maybe negative defensive value at this point, he makes this team better. The secondary conversations are how pathetic the whole Marlins situation is. And we don't I don't know if we want to do a dump on the Marlins thing. And we don't have to, I'm not pushing for that, but like it is a depressing situation. If you're a Marlins fan, as far as I'm concerned.
Jay, they were just in town. Like I watched Arráez get traded on the camera. I had our camera on him in the dugout, watching the whole trade, like him understand that he's being traded, the handshakes, the hugs. He sat there because by the time the trade happened, he was not going to be able to get to where he needed to be in time to play or anything. So he sat there and he watched the game from the dugout. Yeah. But I'll say this, like when teams come into town, like, you know, you meet everybody from the front office and you do a lot of that. Like I didn't meet the PR person for 2 days. Didn't see them till the second day we were there. Like that's not typically how that goes.
I hope they don't listen to this podcast.
The highly doubtful.
Taking shots.
Do you remember, Dallas?
How often does that happen?
What year is it? It must have been 2017 or 18. All I did was just say the facts and reported the news, I guess. But so when Jose Fernandez died, that was September of 2016, I believe. And they told like his family that we're never going to touch his locker.
And then they moved it the next day.
Yeah, we're gonna keep his locker exactly how he left it. And so it must have been 17 because in November of 17, I went on vacation to Miami. We took a tour of Marlins Park, and I walked, like they showed us like the clubhouse, and obviously it was November, so the entire locker room was cleared out except for Jose's locker. So they were like, "Yep, we're never gonna touch his locker." And then like a year later, they told his family, like, hey, can you actually come like clean all of his shit out? Like we changed our minds. And so I blogged about it and got an email from like the Marlins PR team being like, hey, like, you got to be better. Like, this makes us look bad, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, yeah, it makes you look bad because what part of this am I saying that's not true? Like, I'm reading the news. Like, I'm reading what's happened here and I'm reporting it. Like, I'm commenting on what's been reported. It's kind of a circus over there.
Yeah. Well, I look at game notes, right? I'm a huge game note guy, like from other organizations. I just like to see how you're presenting your organization because really it's to media members, and it's not even necessarily for broadcasters, but for the media members who are up in the press box, they're up in the booth, they're grabbing this packet of notes on every position player you have, every pitcher you have, and, just kind of where we're at now, taking stock of the organization up until this point, like how the season's gone, statistical context, and blah, 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 blah. Like you have everybody's name. They don't even have their major league staff's names on the note package. Like they don't have the coaching staff. They have one line of information, like statistical, like how this player did last week in the series. Like that's what you get. And like I said, I didn't see the PR person till the end of the second day we were there. It's a 3-game series.
Well, I left it up to you guys, so we are doing this apparently. So let's fucking do it. I mean, like, listen, the Marlins are maybe more than any other team in baseball never going to change their stripes. This is a team that is what it is in terms of how they operate, how they treat players, how they apparently treat media members. Like, this is a skinflint organization, and literally outside of very outside of very few, like literally one season bursts of spending from an ownership way far in the past, they have always operated at the absolute bare minimum of everything. And like,
look what they did to fucking Kim Ng. Are you serious?
But okay, yeah, like, okay, so whether or not she was a above average executive, I don't even know if I'm not qualified to assess that. I don't think she also had enough time for us to know, or was in a situation where you ever were going to know. But like them importing the 85th Rays executive to land a GM job is fine if your goal is let's watch the most efficiently run cheap organization in the league. And that's where the Marlins are headed. They're not headed for these green pastures that are suddenly going to flourish once this guy gets a hold and does the operation side the way that he wants to do it. Like Buster Olney had a column up this morning talking about how, okay, the Arráez trade is over. What's left here? And like rival executives are like, well, there's basically not really anything left. And it's like,
come on, 6 though.
And it's like, okay, well, I mean, like we all know that Sandy Alcantara is good, but like he's out for the season, et cetera. Like most of their good pieces are not tradable assets at this point, and everybody that is kind of sucks. And so you have this retooling or rebuild that's going to go on, but to what end? Like you don't have enough veteran talent to cycle through and get a replenishment that's actually going to get you in a meaningfully different direction, it doesn't seem like. So where is this all headed, particularly when you know that like there's no like balloon spending coming down the line from this or any future ownership of the Marlins? Like it's just, yeah, trading Luis Arraez is fine. He's also like the only reason to tune in to watch your team. So for the GM, who I get it, is being honest, which we all ask for, to go up there at whatever fucking date that was, May 2nd, May 3rd, and say, we are very unlikely to make the playoffs this season or postseason this year. It's like, yeah, that's true, man. But like, damn, like the season is a month old.
So Jayhay,
well,
I got, go ahead, Joe, go ahead.
I'm just to defend the Marlins.
Oh,
not
God.
to be the defending
Are
the
you fucking
Marlins.
serious right
What
now?
are you doing?
I have to defend the Marlins right here. I
Okay,
like
go ahead.
I love the
Go ahead.
Marlins. I just like the injuries they had in their starting rotation was like, there's no way they could ever be competitive this year. They got very unlucky with
For sure.
Alcantara, even Luzardo, Yuri Perez, even Braxton Garrett, 4 of their best starters gone. There's no way they were going to be able to win with that.
Totally fair, and something that should absolutely be brought up when we're talking about the difference between the 23 and the 24 Marlins. The problem, though, is that building your team almost exclusively off of young starting pitching is the tightest rope to walk in team building in Major League Baseball. We all know that. So, like, yes, this has backfired for them, and some of it's been injury. Some of it's been, like, when you go from Pablo Lopez to Luis Arraez to prospects. Like, that's like, maybe Dylan Head will turn out to make me feel like an asshole in 5 years, but like, that's the wrong direction. It just is, because you could get more for Pablo Lopez right now than you could get or got for Luis Arraez right now. So that's just what it is. So, like, there's talent degradation on the roster and there's injuries. But if you have no offensive core to speak of, and you're relying totally on pitchers like 27 or younger, you get what you get sometimes. And this is what they got.
Why do you think they made this move right now, Jayhay?
Because I think I will take his comment at face value that essentially this package was rich enough and the market for Arraez was going to be limited enough moving forward that this was the time for them to move. And in fairness, at 10 and 26 or whatever they are not making the playoffs. So, like, I'm being a little bit unfair by criticizing him for that, but you so rarely see a GM come out and say that so early in the season. And that has to be deflating on some level for the people that are still there. But that is the reason why I think they took this deal, because the Padres offered them enough to get the deal done right now. And they know Arraez's defensive metrics are in the absolute gutter, and that there are going to be limited number of suitors for what amounts to probably a DH as the Padres are playing him.
I wonder if there's a mental aspect to this that could be, I don't want to say studied. That's probably a little too deep, but to your point about the GM never being, or GMs in general, never being as open and honest about the plight of the team, because that's what this is, right? It's a plight.
At least not this early.
Right.
Yeah.
So for them to come out and say that, like, you wonder, okay, well, I mean, I have a pretty good idea of what kind of impact that has on the room, right? Because what happens there is that room just tightens up. That room just shrinks immediately. And now the guy who's making those statements, that guy's not welcome in the room. That guy, it's a very uncomfortable presence for that guy to walk into the clubhouse. There's a limited amount of respect going on there too. I could only imagine. So I've got a really strong idea of what those vibes are like. And it's just, it begs the question, is this a level of detachment that we're not used to seeing? Or is this a level of honesty that we're not used to seeing? And I think that is a fair question, because let me tell
Good
you,
point.
Jayhay, where those conversations were being had and where those interviews were being conducted, the Oakland Coliseum is a very, very, very large place, but it's also a very, 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 very small place as well. And to watch some of the faces and hear some of the conversations after that, yeah, I would just, I would say, and I say confidently, that our assessment of how the Marlins are going, really from top to bottom, is pretty accurate.
So they're like, if you're looking at how the Marlins are doing things right now, it's not like they're at the beginning of their ascension part of the rebuild. They are still descending, and it's but you could also look at it to Joe's point, to lose 4 starters, and they're still, like, it's not like they're like, say, the St. Louis Cardinals, for example, like, they have 3 veteran starter journeyman starters. Like, these guys are young enough to where they could be core pieces. So what direction exactly are the Marlins going in?
Dude, it almost does. Sorry, it almost doesn't fucking matter whether these pitchers are core pieces or not. They need to turn over basically an entire offense, a lineup's worth of offense.
Yeah.
Like, how many? Look at this team. How many of these people are keepers? And pull up any prospect ranking and be like, where's the flood of Marlins prospects? Like, I'm not saying they're dead last on these prospect rankings or that these things are infallible, but this is not a Marlins system that is overflowing or about to overflow. And I'm looking at this lineup and I'm thinking they are 8 pieces away.
Ooh.
Well, and Joey, to your point about the pitching, let's look at what is happening in Oakland right now, right? We've got a roster, we've got a rotation mixed with two veteran guys in Stripling and Alex Wood, who hadn't won a ball game since 2022. All right. They hadn't won a decision since 2022, and they're part of the starting rotation, along with some guys who are trying to take steps forward. But they're performing well. And the bullpen has been lights out up until the last few days. And where are the A's right now? A game under 500. So the expectation that came with the Oakland A's and where they're at right now, you can say a lot of that has to do with what they've been able to do on the mound. So if you don't have those performances from those young guys on the mound, this is kind of what it looks like. Not to say it was going to look a whole lot different, but you feel like you have a fighting chance. So to get hit over the head in May by a statement from the guy who's calling the shots, telling you we're not going to be good, we're not going to the postseason. That's a tough one to wear in May.
The Marlins currently have 3 prospects in the top 100. Their highest is 50. The other 2, 96 and 99. All 3 of them are pitchers. Only one of them is above single A, Max Meyer, and he's their lowest ranked in the top 100. He's number 99. He's in Triple A right now. The other 2 are in A ball.
And you
no
look
position players in the pipeline.
And you look at the people actually on the roster, and they're either young and bad or old and bad. And I'm not even trying to be funny at this point. Like, there is no person on this offense that's performing at a high level or a high enough level where you're like, this is something that we're going, like even Jazz Chisholm, where you're like, that guy was just on the cover. That guy was on the cover of whatever a couple years ago. He was the next big star. Like, MLB was invested in this guy being a star. Okay, that's great. Sometimes it doesn't happen. And so far, it's still not happening for him. And everybody else on the team is basically a reclamation project or a young person that's not ultimately going to matter. No offense to them. They'll matter to their families and stuff, but not to the Miami Marlins, really.
Thank you for specifying that.
Yeah, I don't want to, mental health and all that. They do matter, but like,
it's Mental Health Awareness Month.
Yeah, Tim Anderson, like, he's going to be gone after this season or at the deadline or before. Like, Josh Bell, gone. Jazz Chisholm is like maybe their most attractive trade chip if somebody wants to try and turn that into a reclamation project. And everybody else, like, it's just, that's why I'm pessimistic. And it feels like we're dumping on this team like very, very hard. But I think people also need to understand that some of these teams in Major League Baseball have gutted themselves to a degree where they are in like really bad shape relative to how even bad teams have been in the last 15, 20 years. Like, the Marlins are in really bad shape. The White Sox are in really bad shape. It's not hyperbole to say that.
And they're, never mind.
Say it.
I just know the White Sox, like, I'm going to comment on the draft. I don't really know much about the draft. I know the White Sox can't even get like a top 10 draft pick this year, even though they're going to have the worst record in baseball. So I don't know if that is the reason why all these teams, because I feel like in the past you'd have the worst fucking team in baseball always had like a good farm system. That was kind of the way it works. Now you're seeing teams be the worst team and also have the worst farm system.
Yeah.
But looking at this trade, it just seems, at first when I saw it, it was like, what the fuck? They traded Arráez in May. But it is like the most typical trade ever. Like, this is what the Marlins do. Let's trade this guy so we don't have to pay him next year. We can save money and not have to pay him. And then the Padres just being like, let's just get whatever player is the best player, no matter what position he plays. We just want the biggest player.
It's almost like the Marlins were like, the Marlins were like, we're not going to get Ohtani'd. That's what we're not going to do. We're not going to keep this dude to the point where the other teams are just going to kind of wait us out and wait for us to finally bite on somebody that throws them something. And then if that doesn't happen, they're just going to wear Arráez to the end and get nothing for him. Like, and the Marlins were like, not us. Not us. You're not going to see that happen here.
I do feel like the Padres are, no, this isn't breaking news, but I do feel like this trade really once again hammers home that they are run more like a fantasy team than just about any Major League Baseball franchise has been run possibly ever. It's just like, I'm going to go out and get that dude. I'm okay with it. Or you're playing like the show or whatever. And it's like, yeah, I'm just going to go out and get that dude. And because I can like fake defense. I'm just going to stick him wherever, and I'm going to go get that guy. And even though he plays the same position as my best guy, and then he's going to go out there, and it's like, oh, okay. We'll see if it works, I guess. Yeah. But I mean,
we're just taking the at-bats. We're simulating defense anyway, Jayhay. It doesn't matter.
I would also be curious for somebody to do, and maybe somebody will do, an analysis on what they got in the door for Juan Soto value-wise versus what they have sent out in the Dylan Cease and Arráez trades. Because, like, obviously it's just one season of Soto versus 2 seasons of Dylan Cease, and I don't know offhand how many seasons Arráez has left on his contract, but it is multiple. I would be curious to see what that equation looks like and what they've turned one season of Juan Soto into in terms of these guys and whatever's left over. But they're better, and he's an interesting player to watch. He is, some of the comparisons I saw got a little bit crazy and a little bit clickbaity for my taste, but he is a unique player within the current shape of Major League Baseball for sure.
Yeah, I guess the logical thing I saw was that Ha-Seong Kim is able to opt out this year, which will most likely do. So they're going to need an infielder next year, and they can let him go and then have Arráez fill in.
That would be,
but of course, you wouldn't be surprised if the Padres just give Ha-Seong Kim a crazy extension tomorrow.
That would be a remarkable direction to take in terms of infield construction if you took Ha-Seong Kim's amazing defensive contributions, and we're like, well, we have Luis Arráez.
Yeah, give us Arráez.
Okay, well,
well, you know, Manny Machado came up as a shortstop, bro. So
Manny Machado should start hitting. That would help too.
Yeah,
it's a fun team, fun roster. Padres. Maybe this
the Profar breakout is here. Fucking finally,
the Padres. This is the one trade that makes them not be mid.
At the Rangers. I'm sorry they missed out on that.
So the Padres are only paying Luis Arráez about $500,000.
Yeah.
No, they're paying him a lot more. Aren't they deferring it?
Prorated league mini, baby.
Yeah, prorated league minimum.
I thought the Padres. Oh, so the Marlins sent the Padres money?
Acquired by San Diego in a trade from Miami, with the Marlins paying all but $592,796, the prorated minimum salary.
But then next year they got to pay him.
Well, next year it's his 4th and final year of arbitration next year, and then he's a free agent. Yep. I love how I didn't have the Marlins really at all on this rundown, and it just ended up being a 40-minute shit on the Marlins fest.
You know what?
They deserve it.
You do it was organic and it was passionate.
It was passionate and it was meaningful, and it had a lot of meat on that bone.
I feel like we had to make up for it. I feel like we don't ever talk about the Marlins.
Yeah, it's good. Give the fans what they want.
Yeah.
40 minutes of telling them their fucking franchise is hopeless and sucks.
Yeah. Well, last year I feel like we didn't talk about the Marlins when we probably could have more, because they were like they were kind of hitting their ceiling. I think like this is like their best case scenario was them like squeaking into the wild card, and it was like a fun team. And now, unfortunately,
maybe we should carve out like a special segment this year to make up for that. Like what sucks with the Marlins this week or something. Like,
we have to look back at last season and give them their flowers. You know,
this week in Marlins, or this day in Marlins baseball 2023.
The magical 2023 season when we made it to the playoffs, dude.
Damn. All right. Welcome back, Game Time. Shout out to Game Time. We very much appreciate the support here at Baseball is Dead. Jayhay, Joseph. I know Dallas wasn't there, but when we went to Atlanta for the playoffs, Game Time, that's how we got the tickets. And the reason why we choose Game Time, you hop on the app, the price actually goes down closer to Game Time, and it's got this cool feature where you can just move your phone around and see the exact view of where you're going to be sitting. Very convenient. And Game Time is an authorized ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball, which makes getting tickets faster and easier. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down closer as it gets the first pitch. With killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and the lowest price guaranteed, Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets. Save up to 60% of buying last minute for sports, concerts, comedy, theater, etc. Save even more with the exclusive in-app deals on select seats ahead of game or event. Save even more when you choose a section and you can let Game Time choose the seats for you. Toggling this feature shows the total up front with no surprise fees at checkout. You can get a panoramic view from your seat in the app before you buy the tickets. And the lowest price guarantee, of course, or Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. Take the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the promo code BID for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, use the promo code BID to get $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Honestly, I'm probably going to use our promo code for Bruins tickets because I don't have to pay for Red Sox tickets. Ha ha ha. I can just walk in. I can just go. Ha ha. But I might go to some see some Bruins playoff action. Jake, do you have any tickets? Do you have any plans for Bruins playoffs or Celtics?
I say you get Jake tickets for free.
I'll get Jake tickets.
I'm thinking about going to game 3 or 4. We're going to see how the schedule is looking.
Okay. I mean, I would like to take Jake. I feel like my sister would disown me if I didn't take her. But maybe I'll get a 4-piece. Me, Jake, my dad, and my sister might go to a game. And now my mom's listening, being like, I guess I'll go fuck myself then, Jared. So maybe it'll be 5 tickets.
Guess I'll go fuck myself, Jared. Everyone's just gonna. Yeah, I like the Bruins. You don't think I like the? You don't think I would want to go? The fuck.
Wow. So maybe it'll be 5 tickets. My family and Jake. Jake is family to me.
I'm in.
All right. I'll look into it.
I'm down.
You want to come? You like hockey? I feel like you don't like hockey, Joe.
I like the Capitals.
Hockey is the fucking hockey. I will die on this hill. Hockey's the greatest sport to watch in person.
Yeah, it's playoff hockey's awesome.
I love watching hockey in person. Hockey on TV, I can't fucking. I just can't follow the puck, man. I can't do it. It's tough.
I mean, I always like tweet about the Bruins playoff games, and then you'll get the people be like, "Oh, bandwagon." Yeah, no shit. Like I'm not really watching regular season Bruins hockey. Like I'll go to a few games. I feel like that's the barometer. I've said that before. If you can bandwagon in the playoffs as long as you've at least been to a few games. And I went to a few games during this season. I love going. It's a fun time. So yeah, I'm going to watch the playoffs and I'm going to tweet about it. And if you don't like that, you can suck my ass.
Suck his ass.
Yeah, suck my ass, dude. You know what I'm saying? Some Yankee updates here. First and
Gerrit
foremost,
Cole.
Aaron Judge. Judgy.
Washed.
He got ejected for the first time in his career. Did you know?
It's not the Yankee way.
It's not the Yankee way. Derek Jeter ejected 0 times in his career.
Yeah, well, the last captain to be ejected was Don Mattingly.
In like 94?
Yeah.
Some shit. But like, Derek Jeter, you have to figure he said something or behaved in a certain way that probably merited an ejection, but the umpire was like, I can't eject Derek Jeter. He's Yankee captain. Like,
Yeah.
he did some ejectable shit.
There's probably a chance that Aaron Judge has said some shit that he probably
did.
should have been ran for.
He said that. He's like, what I got ran for was definitely not the worst thing I've ever said to an umpire.
Exactly. And so it's just all in the moment, the fact that this happened, what was this? This was the 7th inning?
I can't remember.
When did this happen? I think it happened late in the game. Yeah, not ideal, but that's been, that. There's certain things you can say. There's certain things you can't. I mean,
what were some of the no-nos, Dallas? I'm sure you've talked to.
That's crazy to me that umpires still hold that down. Like if you say you, or what is it, Dallas? Like you can't say like you. You got to say that's a bad call.
Yeah, that's a bad call. That's
you made a
horseshit.
bad call.
You are horseshit. That doesn't work. You are horseshit. Okay, well you will be leaving the game. That's a horseshit call. Well, hey, it's where I had it. Sorry, man. Yeah, well that's horseshit. Okay, that's horseshit. You're fucking horseshit. Am I? Well, you're fucking out of here. And then that's how that goes. It's super simple. Make it personal. That's why everything in the game, like the whole unwritten rule thing, right? Like, who are you staring at? Well, if you're staring at me, you're making it personal. Now I'm offended. Now I'm going to drill somebody else or maybe you if you make it up there next time. But that's just how that goes. Why are you staring at the pitcher? Why are you don't make it personal, and don't start nothing, won't be nothing.
I heard Judge pull out his umpire scorecards, pull up the Twitter account, said you got a 73% accuracy last week. That's second worst in the league. Not good.
Not good.
Oh, could you? Yeah, you know what? That's funny though, Joe. Could you imagine if players start dropping that on him? Yo, buddy, we all saw the tweet. We all saw the scorecard yesterday. I know you're having a bad day, but really, me? You got to take it out on me?
I'm sure that's got to have happened by now.
Well, because I promise you, the umpires.
If I'm a hitter, and that dude calls like a strike on a pitch that's like 3 baseball lengths outside the zone, I'll be like, can't wait to see your scorecard. Like,
oh yeah.
I'm dropping that for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. You know what? Let me do a little recon on that. Let me
ask around.
Yeah,
dude. The umps hate scorecard, dude. I wouldn't be surprised if the union's already taking measures trying to get this shit taken down.
Oh, dude. When I went to New York and went through the replay room and all that, and I had a lot of good conversations. I love talking to those folks there. I love talking to the umpires because they do, like, for as much shit as I give umpires and as much as I ride them, they understand that I do have their back because I make sure that people understand how difficult their job really and truly is. Like, you're asking people who are calling balls and strikes, fair and foul, to keep track of a lot of different things that it feels like umpires just shouldn't necessarily have to keep track of, but they are asked to do those things. But with that being said, it's a lot of fun to talk to them and just hear them reveal, to an extent, why things are the way they are, what direction they might or might not be heading in, and reasons why. So
statistically, it's harder to become an umpire than a major leaguer.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
If you count it from getting in the minor leagues.
They've always said calling a perfect game's harder than throwing one.
That's right.
Mm.
That's right.
They do say that.
I believe
it. It's 100% true.
But they got to stop calling pitches Judge's ankles. Judgy, man.
He's got one of the worst zones in the game. It's him and Bobby Dahlbeck, 2 guys that just have been treated like dog shit by the umpires this year, and it's affected in their numbers. But yeah, Aaron Judge, by the way, has catapulted to number 2 average exit velocity in the league. I mean, he's traditionally been like a top 2, top 3 guy for average exit velocity, but for the struggles that he's had to start the year, still hitting the ball hard. You know who's number 1, Dallas?
I'm going to say either Soto or Ohtani.
It's Soto.
Boom.
Soto's number 1.
But it's got to be good for Yankees fan to be this, first place as a Yankee without Aaron Judge or Gerrit Cole to be, I guess they're not first place, but 23-13, 1 game back. If you're a Yankees fan,
well, and
that's
Gerrit
pretty
Cole,
exciting.
A lot of people are saying that Gerrit Cole is the reason why they're performing this well is because he's a negative presence in the clubhouse.
You're calling it addition by subtraction? Is that what you're calling it?
Bad teammate, bad vibes. No one's complaining. No one's crying to the media about how he can't cheat anymore. It's just like everyone's super positive.
Well, another note of positivity for Yankee fans.
Mm-hmm.
Gerrit Cole has been playing catch.
Well, that's negative. That's bad.
Watched him play catch out in New York. Looks like he's going to be off a mound very soon. So
he was off a mound on Saturday.
Fucking live, right?
Yeah. Where's the quote? I had it. On a scale from 1 to 10, 10 being game ready, Cole reported he is, quote, somewhere between 1 and 5. That is a large range.
Oh wow, 1 and 5.
Somewhere between 1 and 5.
So there's no live. There's no live coming.
He said how his body responds over the next 48 hours will decide when he throws off a mound again.
Yeah. Because I mean, I can tell you the catch play that I watched was not wasn't aggressive.
Cole took the mound in the Yankees bullpen at 10:40 a.m., hours before New York took on the Detroit Tigers at Yankee Stadium. He said he threw 15 pitches, 13 for strikes, and all fastballs. He said the pitches averaged 89 miles an hour.
Well, that's typical, like, no, that's typical, like,
89.
bullpen velocity and especially for a guy like babying it.
Yeah, what's he paying you, Dallas? What's he paying you to fucking
Those are just facts.
Wax his balls on this episode, dude? He's a negative presence. Dude's throwing slop. 89. Woo! Good luck with that against big league hitters, dude.
Yeah, it'll
Don't
be a
worry,
bounce back.
they're fine. They got Carlos Rodon's got this, man. Take your time coming back, Gerrit. Your 89 mile an hour fastballs.
They're just fine with
Fucking
nasty
geek.
Nestor.
Save
Right.
it.
They are eighth in starter ERA, which to me is very surprising. Coming into the year, I mean, it was just like, okay, we got Gerrit Cole, but behind that, who we got? We're gonna put Stroman at number 2.
Yeah.
But they've all
Stroman,
done good.
I told you Stroman was going to be a perfect fit. Like these guys, like Alex Verdugo, Yankee fans are like, oh, thanks for Alex Verdugo. Like they're like bragging that they have him. I'm like, just wait. Like, but then again, that time may not come. Like, I think Verdugo's on his best behavior because he's going to be a free agent at the end of the year. And he doesn't want to be like, he saw, some of these other players struggling to get contract, like Cody Bellinger and shit. It's like, yeah, I got to be on my best behavior or else I'm going to be playing in the Mexican League with Luke Voigt or some shit. So, yeah, I think that Marcus Stroman's been a nice little fit for the New York Yankees. He's been on his best behavior and he's a competitor.
You know who I like on the Yankees?
Who?
Luis Gil, one of the gnarliest neck tattoos you'll ever see.
What does it say? Like
It says-
something blessed, like God bless me or something.
God bless me, dude.
Is that
And
what it says?
God bless me in like the
That's what it
Compton
says for
lettering.
real?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Dude
I love-
sneezes so much. No one sneezes more than this dude. He's got to give, like, he's out like hanging out with his boys and he'll sneeze like 9 times in a row. And like his friends are like, all right, shut up already. Like they'll say God bless you 3 times. You get 3 God bless yous. After that, it's just like fucking shut up, save it. So
He's like,
he
"Hey, kid."
had to get God bless me tattooed on his throat. And you know what? I respect it.
It looks freaking intimidating. I love that the Yankees, like, you can't grow a beard. That's unprofessional, but they can't prevent you from just getting the craziest neck tattoos.
What if they made Gil roll a fucking mock turtleneck out there from now on?
I mean, Chapman
dude,
wore
you
a
gotta-
turtleneck.
You got
Somebody should get a tattoo of a beard.
Yeah. People do that.
Yeah, just somebody who's under long-term contract with the Yankees should get a beard tattoo.
Yeah. What are you going to do about it?
Fucking face lineup.
What would they do if you just refuse to not shave? Like, what's the punishment?
Fucking nothing.
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 Fines,
The
fines,
dumbest
fines.
thing
seriously.
ever.
I pray, I really want that to happen one day. Like, what would happen if Aaron Judge walked in and was like, you know what? I'm taking this for a spin, and it's just like a tired little pencil goatee or something,
Yeah.
But it is what it is, and Judge is like, I think I like it. I think I look good, and it makes me feel good in the box. Like
Juan
once-
Soto has a great opportunity this offseason.
What's
Yeah.
the response? For sure. Yeah. What if
I
Soto's
want
like, hey,
$550 million,
and I want
$600 million,
this, and I want this little.
and I want a nice.
No
little
one
piece right
has
here.
lost more aura than Gerrit Cole going to the Yankees and having to shave. Like, that dude looks like a fucking nerd. But with the Astros, he had the beard, he had the long hair, he looked intimidating. And now he just looks like he is going to seat me at Applebee's. Like, what a fucking loser.
I would never go to a podcast where I had to shave.
Me neither.
Yeah, I'm out.
Imagine
No fucking
No.
chance.
there's another baseball
I hate
podcast and they're like, hey man, we got a clean shave rule. And I'm just like, guess you got a no rocket rule as well. See you later.
Hell yeah.
Save it, brother. Hey Dallas.
I would love to talk about the swinging A's. I
Hey,
would
Dallas.
love to talk about the swinging A's.
How about putting up 20 runs in a game to get to 500? I know that you lost, so you're technically a loser team right now, but to even be a game under 500 for what we saw last year from the Oakland A's, what the dialogue has been around this team, how you're an embarrassment of an organization, how you have basically no home, you're an orphanage team. You're just going to be called the A's.
Those are things that have been
no,
said.
it's true. I mean,
No.
next year you will be the A's because, and there's a reason why you don't have a City Connect jersey. It's because you don't connect with the city.
Us and the
Rooted in
Yankees.
Oakland, dude.
Yep.
Rooted in
Yankees.
Oakland.
Yep. So, but the Oakland A's right now are a game under 500. They scored 20 runs. What was that? Saturday or Friday?
Saturday.
Saturday. They put up 20 runs, and that victory brought them to an even 500 record on the season. Can you talk to us about what's going on in Oakland?
Well, you had the offensive outburst that you saw.
Yeah.
And shout out Brett Rooker, who went deep twice in the same inning, which did cause a little PTSD for me, but was also fun at the same time. And I got some numbers on this. This is I kind of dove into this list a little bit. But Brent Rooker became the 60th player to hit 2 homers in the same inning. That has happened again 60 times now. Trey Turner did it last year versus the Nats. Masataka Yoshida did it last year versus the Brewers. And so that got me thinking, wow, just the evolution of offense in our game. All right. And now listen to this. I'm going to tell you the time between occurrences, meaning this is the time between the first time this happened and the second time this happened, so on and so forth, right? So between 1880 and 1894, there was a 14-year gap between the very first time this happened, which was, again, in 1880, and then the second time that somebody had hit 2 home runs in the same inning, 1894. So a 14-year gap. But the third time that it had ever been done was, again, in 1894, literally 7 days after just the second time it had ever happened in baseball history, right? And that's pretty fucking sweet. Shout out Jack Stenzel, Bucko, who was actually the guy who did it, because it wouldn't be done after he did it for another 28 years. So the time between that, 1894, Jack Stenzel, and 1992, 28-year period. And that was 28 years between the third and fourth time that had ever happened. And then the third largest gap was from 1936 to 1949. And that was from the time that it had happened the 8th time and the 9th time. So at first, you got a 14-year occurrence between the time it happened the first and second time, and then a 28-year occurrence, 28-year stretch between the third and fourth time it happened, and then a 13-year stretch between the 8th and 9th time that had happened. So it got me thinking about how many times this has been done in the same season. Well, 1894 was the first time that it had ever been done, ever. 1949, it was done twice. Not until 1973 would it be done again twice in the same season. And then
Who did it?
What's that?
Who did it in 73?
I have to go back and look at all the names. I didn't write the names down because it was a lot. A lot of shit that I was doing. But then you go to 73 and 74, and that was the first time in baseball history that it had been done in back-to-back seasons. So it had been done multiple times in one season, but it had never occurred in back-to-back seasons until 73 and 74. And then you get to 72 or 77, it had been done twice. 1985, it had been done twice. And I got to give a shout out to Vaughn Hayes, was a fellow who did it in 1985. Why Vaughn Hayes? Because Vaughn Hayes is from Stockton, California, quite literally just a few streets over. And why does that matter? Because Vaughn Hayes eventually would become my AA manager. So that was really cool, a really cool connection for Stocktonians. Shout out to 209. And then in 1993, it was done twice. Now, how about this? 1996, 4 times it happened in 1996. Jeff King, shout out Buccos again, Sosa, Dave Nielsen, Brew Crew, and Big Mac in Seattle, which was the last time that an Oakland Athletic had done it. Fast forward to 97, just done twice. 2002, it was done 7 times.
Sounds like this shit happens nonstop. Just
7 times in 2002. And wouldn't you believe it, Brett Boone and Mike Cameron did it in the same fucking game. How about that? That's pretty sweet. But then you go 2007, it was done twice. 2008, it was done twice. 2009, it was done twice. And then, as I told you, 2023, it has been done twice. How about this? It had happened 8 years in a row. So 8 years in a row, we got somebody hitting 2 home runs in the same inning. And that was from 2006 to 2013, which is the longest streak of consecutive seasons with a game where a guy homers twice in the same inning. And it had happened 2 or more times in a year, 12 total times. So it went from happening to kind of happening to now it happens a lot.
Yeah, the A's are bringing it back.
Yeah.
The A's can pop the homers, dude. 3rd and homers. You would never even have guessed that coming into the season.
Swinging A's.
We had 3 dudes. Yeah, it was fun. We had 3 dudes in the 3rd inning that game go fucking 2 for 2.
Yeah, Shea Bangaliers.
Oh, Shea Bangaliers. It was pretty sweet. Fucking shout out Tyler Nevin. Tyler Nevin has he's riding a fucking 0 for 10 piece right now. A little bit of a cold streak. But coming into this, this was a dude who people were like, oh, hold on, what? Tyler Nevin, and we're gonna do what with him? You just sent Esty Ruiz to AAA, and we're bringing Tyler Nevin, and he's going to see a bunch of lefties, but there weren't lefties on the schedule. So what did he do? Well, he just filled in nicely, hit over 300 for a while, has been the team's probably best hitter through the month of April. Like it was a very welcomed addition. But the big story for the Oakland A's has been what they've been doing on the mound, the bullpen. I think it's like a 3.6 ERA or 3.06 ERA or something like that. I think it's 6th in baseball. And it's been a little bumpy the last couple games for guys out of the bullpen, but I mean, fuck, they had to cover 24 outs. The bullpen had to cover yesterday. Unfortunately, Joe Boyle went down with a back issue, so he only got through the 1st inning. That's a heavy load to carry for the boys in green and gold, but it's been a nice little ride. It's been a fun little ride.
They're calling the A's the bullpen whisperers. They can turn anyone into an elite closer. I think Manoah gets options. A's pick him up. Becomes an ace out of the bullpen.
And we got to shout out Brett Harris, who his first 2 hits in the big leagues are homers. It's fucking awesome. Awesome. Awesome to have happen. Awesome to see. Had the family in town for it. So shout out B. Harry as well.
Yesterday, we saw the big league return of Alek Manoah, and it was going great. It was going great for a little bit, and then the wheels came off. And once the toothpaste is out of the tube, as they say, it's very difficult to put it back in. Some would say impossible. Jesse Winker made sure that Alek Manoah's day was going to get fucking ruined. The final line here: 4 innings, 6 hits, 7 runs, only 6 of them earned. He did manage to walk 4, but he did strike out 6, and he gave up 2 homers. So it's only one start. I know that Alek Manoah didn't make a ton of friends throughout the league. I don't know that many fans outside of Toronto necessarily are rooting for him because of his, I guess, I don't even want to call it antics, but I guess the way that he carried himself when he was pitching well. I don't think that a ton of out of town fans vibed with. I did. I like Alek Manoah. Well, I'm rooting for him. But the first start didn't go well. So we're going to try again next time.
I think what skews that is that he pissed off Yankees fans, and there's a lot of Yankees fans.
Yeah.
I would say his reputation was very high while he was doing that. Obviously, you're talking shit. You're going to get, you're going to be a little polarizing, but it's really the Yankees fans who hate Manoah. So you're seeing nonstop memes, guys fat, guys washed. It's going to happen. And yeah, he's not performed well.
So you support him, Joseph?
I support Manoah 100%.
Okay.
I love Manoah. I mean, we were at the All-Star game. He was the coolest guy at the All-Star game, red carpet for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And that goes a long way for me. I'm more of a red carpet guy. Like, what's your outfit? How you interacting with the fans? And Manoah was a 10 out of 10.
My favorite part about that was when he was like, fuck your red rope, family, let's go. We're taking a huge picture and we're all walking down the red carpet.
Yeah, there was 30 Manoahs on the red carpet, all looking dapper. And you feel for them right now.
It's not just one start though, right?
No.
I mean, it is just one start since coming back to the major leagues, but like it's not though, right? It's 27 starts across the last 2 seasons at various levels of professional baseball where he's been pretty much straight terrible all the way through. And I am not rooting against, I mean, I'm kind of neutral on the situation as far as he's concerned, but He has a 7.20 ERA over 27 starts and 118 and 2/3 innings since the start of the 2023 season. So I can understand why there might have been optimism going into this past start, maybe because he had had such a good start in the minors before that. But it unraveled so quickly in this one and so completely that even the positive start to this start gets washed out, in my opinion, because this just falls in line with all the other garbage that he's been putting up stat lines. No reason for optimism as far as I can tell.
No, because even if you compare this start to his minor league starts, it's like kind of not even the worst start, and those are against minor leaguers.
Well, for me, it's a matter of command and location, like, and then you can get into like execution, but you fall behind. You got to come fat in the zone. When you don't have finish on your shit, when your shit doesn't have life, it's lazy in the zone, and now it's lazy in the zone behind in the count. So you're just, it's not a good recipe for success. It's not. And if you are trying to figure out why the knife doesn't cut as sharp, it's really tough to try to be able to go out and execute, because you don't know which end of the knife you can use, which end of this knife is viable. I don't know. It's just not. I'm better off keeping it sheathed at this point is what you start to think.
I also like, it's hard to look at the pitch specific stuff from the Manoah start and be any additionally encouraged, because obviously like part of his issue is that he went from having a slider that was like super nasty to having a slider that was a lot less effective. And like, he gave up 2 homers off the slider in this start. They tattooed and those weren't the only hits. He gave up 2 other hits in addition to those homers. Like, his whiff rate's been heading in the wrong way on that pitch for basically since he debuted. It's gone in a straight line down. And if he doesn't have that as a put away pitch, then it doesn't really, yes, the command stuff obviously is where it all starts. But like, if the slider's not sharp and it's not a put away pitch, then he's just never going to get back to that level. And allowing more homers than strikeouts with your go-to breaking ball is probably a bad formula.
Yeah, I mean the barrel rate is, already high.
I mean, he sucked ass.
Yeah, I don't want to badger the guy because he was somebody that I was rooting for. I mean, a lot of people have, and rightfully so, blamed Gerrit for his downturn when he identified him as a
Dallas
Cy
picked
Young
him
candidate,
to win Cy Young, and he hasn't been the same since.
And this is where we're at.
This is
I
crazy
was
talk.
always somebody trying to pull this guy.
I think
out
he
of the
picked Spencer
doldrums
Strider too.
That Gerrit had fucking absolutely.
No, Dallas.
Yeah, I
Did you
think he picked Spencer Strider. He picked Spencer Strider and Gerrit Cole. Yeah.
Don't put Cole's. Don't put that evil on me.
No,
don't put
he
the
did.
Cole evil on me.
He did.
Did
Yeah,
you pick
he
Spencer
did.
Strider? You just said you didn't admit it.
Yep. Pick
Jared
Lucas
picked
Giolito
Spencer
for
Strider.
comeback player of the year. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
Bullshit. This is all complete and total fabrication.
Listen, dude. I mean, check the show notes, brother. It's all there. Open and shut case, my dog. Anyways, really quickly, saw this article. MLB attendance before May hits 7-year high. Love that for all the people that go with the baseball is dead narrative.
In May?
No, before May. MLB attendance before May hits 7-year high.
So people who came in the month of April to watch baseball for the first month, there's more people that have done that this year, Joe, than in the last 7 years.
Yeah, and April is a tough month to draw crowds at big league parks
because it's freezing.
It's cold. Sometimes your team sucks. Sometimes you got shit to do. People are celebrating my birthday. They're like, it's WrestleMania. You got shit going on in April. So,
well, shout out to the young stars. And that number is only going to increase when young stars like Paul Skenes start to make their way to the big leagues. Who? Paul
Gave up a bomb. Who's that guy? Call him up. What the fuck?
Time to Time to
Who
start
did
pitching
that?
left-handed for Paul Skenes.
Who did that?
You know what? It was a dude who I don't know his name, but he really should thank Paul Skenes because it came on a pitch
He
where
was a dude. I don't know his name. Yeah, thanks. He's a dude. Yeah, thanks, man.
Yep,
Yeah.
he's a dude. Yeah. And he had a free pass. He was going down to first base, and Paul Skenes was like, I feel like the 3-1 was probably a strike. Challenged the pitch. It was a strike. The guy steps back in and then promptly hit a ball out to center field.
Yeah. This nameless man. His name is Will the Thrill Robinson.
There you go.
Oh,
Slick
what
Willie
org?
Bob. Oh,
What
Willie
org?
Bob.
Jayhay?
Born in
What org is he in?
Loose Creek, Missouri.
What organization is he in?
What organization? He's part of the Buffalo Bisons.
Who's that?
Darts?
The Mets? No.
Anybody want to take a guess at that one? I love this game.
I said the Guardians.
The Buffalo Bisons. Is that Toronto?
Yes. Ding, 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 ding.
Right.
Way to go.
Yeah. There you go.
Yep.
Yeah. But yeah, I found something. I found something interesting here. And it was just, these are just talking points. These are data points. As we know, Paul Skenes, this was his first start on 4 days rest. So
Oh, I thought you were going to make accusations there.
no. But they were talking about how in his last start, like his last two pitches were the hardest pitches of the night, right? 100, 101, whatever. And that was on 5 days rest. But in this outing here, on 4 days rest, gives up the first homer he's ever given up. And he also gave that homer up on the second slowest fastball of the season, 97.9 miles an hour. And
So you
that
think he's
was at
breaking
the
down.
top. That was at the top of the fifth inning, which was the end of his outing.
Do you think he's
And-
gassing out?
Remember, they have controlled his outings and they've controlled the ups and downs, is really what they've controlled. So he's had 2 outings of 3 ups and downs. He's had 2 outings of 4 ups and downs. He's had 1 outing of 5 ups and downs, and then 1 outing of 6 up and downs, which was the last outing that I was just talking about prior to this one, where the 4 days rest.
So you think he's got poor stamina is what you're saying?
No. I'm saying this was part of the plan, right? To get him on a 5-day rotation so that he could make a couple starts in that 5-day rotation, which would set him up for pitching in a big league rotation and would set him up to do so sooner rather than later. But for the folks who are wondering or who are asking, oh, is it going to make an impact? I just felt like those numbers, like, okay, if you're telling me that he threw the hardest pitches he's thrown of his outing at the end of his outing, and we're now taking away a day of rest from him, and we're asking him to continue to build and continue to throw more pitches, and we're finding out at the end of his most recent outing, he has the homer hit off of him, but it's on the slowest or the second slowest fastball that he's thrown this season. You know, what does that do for you? Does that do anything for you?
Yeah.
Does a lot for me. I just pulled up the LSU's academic calendar.
Mhm.
You got they got finals today.
Mhm.
And so today's last day classes. Of course, we got commencement. We got graduation the 17th. So it's looking like, I'm going to say May 21st is going to be Skenes. That's going to be the call up date.
You see, and you see where it's at. Well, I was just, that's at home, right, Joe?
That's at home versus the Giants.
Versus the Giants. You got
Some
it.
ticks.
You got
Yep.
it.
Game time app, baby. It's game time app. All right. I only have one more thing. Do you guys have anything else? I know Jayhay, you've got a nug dump that you want to do.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Let me shout out Oneil Cruz real quick, because about a week or so ago, I said Oneil Cruz might be heating up. And you're what? What do you mean
Dead
he's
cat
heating
bounce.
up? What do you mean? Well, since my tweet on April 22nd, Through 45 plate appearances, Oneil Cruz is hitting .310 with a .356 OBP, slugging .500. That's good for an .856 OPS. From the beginning of the season up until April 7th, he was hitting .333, .364, .500 with an .864, had 2 bombs. But then there was a little bit of a down spell, a little bit of a dry spell, and that was April 8th to the 21st. .091 for Cruz. That was over 48 plate appearances. 167 OBP, 159 slug for 326 OPS. Not so much, right? But those numbers I just read to you since my tweet, 310 plus. Oneil Cruz starting to heat up, and he hit an absolute fucking tank, too, by the way. Tank! So yeah, as the Buccos offense goes, as Oneil Cruz goes, this Buccos offense will continue to roll. So just wanted to let you know that Oneil Cruz, we're getting a little warmer.
Oneil Cruz versus lefties has a negative 8 WRC+.
You know what? You know what, Joe? And you might start to talk about the swing and miss, and yeah, that's fine. That's fine. I'm talking about where we were and where we're at now, and that's what's called progress, Joseph.
That's good. Now we know what the problem is. Lefties are tough, but the good news is most guys are righties. So who gives a shit, honestly?
Yeah. Last thing from me here, over the weekend, obviously like May 4th, May the 4th be with you. It's like a Star Wars thing. I saw this on Ben Verlander's podcast account. There's a really funny video going viral. It's Darth Vader throwing out the game, the first pitch. Listen to this. The dude in the background that's filming it.
It's going to be tired, guaranteed.
Spikes it. Spikes the throw. Darth Vader getting booed.
What a joke!
Yeah. Absolutely. Darth Vader just spiking the first pitch. Guy filming it's fucking dying laughing. The guy filming it laughing made the whole video. But I saw that on Ben Verlander's Instagram and had to just play it.
I'm gonna fucking punch you right in the forehead.
It was a funny video. It was a really funny video. Gotta check that out.
What a fucking snake. Fucking weasel.
Jayhay, you got any nugs?
Dude, do I have nugs for you? All right. I just scanned the box scores this morning getting prepared for the pod just so I could dump the most random ass nugs on the listeners. So here we go. In no particular order. Some good, some bad, some meaningful, some totally meaningless. Tarek Skubal is the first Tigers pitcher with a start of 12 plus strikeouts and 0 walks to record a no decision since Eric Erickson on May 24th, 1918. Erickson threw a 16-inning
His parents suck.
Through a 16-inning complete game and received, you're like, whoa, wait a second, he threw a complete game. How did he get a no decision? Because the game was called due to darkness and ended in a 2-2 tie.
There you go.
That's how long ago something like what just happened to Tarek Skubal happened is they had to stop games due to darkness. Vladimir Guerrero Jr., he homered on Sunday, and that was his first homer against an off-speed pitch since August 27th of last season.
Oh, my.
Last year, when things were going well for Mickey Moniak, I had to hear, this is a little bit of a personal beef stat, I had to hear about how he was a key part of things moving forward for the Angels. He was hitting .335, .367, .634. That's a 1,000 OPS with 11 homers through his first 45 games last season. In 67 games since then, he's hit .203, .234, .320 in 231 plate appearances. So congratulations on that little run that he had. Jose Caballero is the first Rays player with 3+ runs scored despite getting 0 hits since Guillermo Heredia, August 12th, 2019. Caballero had that game on Sunday. These are all Sunday relevant, or at least adjacent. So 3 runs scored despite no hits. He had 3 walks. Josh Hader has already allowed as many runs this season in 15 appearances as he did all last season in 61 appearances. 11 runs allowed this season and last. Just kind of a pot shot here because I'm petty like that. Salvador Perez went 0 for 8 with 5 strikeouts over the final 2 games of the series against the Rangers. The Royals lost both games. Thanks for coming out. Jarren Duran has 9 stolen bases and 5 triples through 35 games this season. He and Bobby Witt Jr., who has also done that this year, are the first players since Adalberto Mondesi in 2019, and only 2 of 19 such instances overall in the wild card era to have 9 stolen bases and 5 triples through 35 games. So very random, but very rare, as it turns out. I feel like this is a great throwback to a conversation we had 6 years ago. Is this the end for Paul Goldschmidt? It wasn't then, but it might be now. 0 for 12 with 1 walk and 6 strikeouts. So strikeouts in half his at-bats in a 3-game series against the White Sox over the weekend. You thought that would have been a get well series. Turns out not. He now has a 578 OPS entering play today, recording day. That's Goldie's worst 33-game stretch to start a season ever in his career. His previous was 652 in 2012. Furthermore, if we just throw out to start a season and look at any 33-game stretch of his career, it's his worst since late April to late May / early June of 2018, which I believe is when the 3 of us were having the conversation on whether Paul Goldschmidt was toast. That was about 6 years ago, and it may finally be yes after a damn near Hall of Fame career. He looks really rough right now.
He snuck an MVP in there.
He sure did. Little bit of a Cubs double dip, good, bad. Javier Assad, of all the pitchers to throw at least 100 innings since late June of last season, he has the lowest ERA in baseball at 2.03. Javier Assad. Michael Busch on the bad side of things. He had a 1.062 OPS through 19 games this season. In 14 games since then, he's hitting 177 with 0 homers and strikeouts in 38% of his plate appearances. And also, to go with that, just 1 walk. So a 21-to-1 K to walk ratio over 14 games. Nick Gordon. We dumped on the Marlins, so let's pay it off, right? Let's do a good nugget for the Marlins. Nick Gordon, he did this on Sunday, is the 2nd player in franchise history and the first since Mike Lowell in 2001 to have a game with 4 hits that included a homer, 3 RBI, 2 runs scored, and a caught stealing. Congratulations to him. Tough news for Joey. Matt Olson is hitting 102. That's 6 for 59 with a 389 OPS and 0 homers over his last 18 games. That goes back to April 15th.
Ooh, Jayhay, you know who else that's tough for? Dallas, because I believe he picked him for MVP.
That is really brutal. That's really brutal. He also picked him for the best-selling jersey of 2023, which was maybe the craziest thing that's happened on this podcast all season.
Yeah. Well, I'm not come on. He's a defensive player, so why are you?
Yeah, platinum glove. I mean, maybe they sold a lot of platinum gloves, like replica platinum gloves, but probably not that many jerseys. His 676 OPS through his first 32 games is his worst 32-game start to a season ever by over 80 points. His previous worst was 756. Corbin Carroll had 2 hits on Sunday, but both were singles. He still has just 1 extra base hit going back to April 12th, which is 21 games. And then 2 things that I added here at the end, based on conversations that we had during the podcast. We talked about people who have brutal strike zones as it relates to getting pitches called out of the zone, called strikes. Recently, the guy who recently hit the IL, Wyatt Langford, actually led Major League Baseball in both total pitches thrown out of the strike zone, called strikes, and as a percentage of total pitches seen. He has 23 such pitches this season, which is kind of brutal. That's it's like 2 out of every 3 games.
Welcome to the show, Rook.
Yeah, it's tough. Mookie Betts has 22. Aaron Judge has 16. Bobby Dalbec has 7. And then Paul Skenes, while we were talking about that, I looked at his AAA ERA this season. It is 0.99. Coincidentally, that is the exact same ERA that Mariano Rivera put up in the World Series.
And how many innings?
About double the number of innings that Paul Skenes has done at AAA. Yeah, it's always good to appreciate Mariano Rivera's ridiculous postseason numbers. But that's the Nugdom. Thanks for listening.
Wow. Joseph, any final thoughts today?
Well, we didn't really talk about the Braves doing bad. We should address the elephant in the room. The Phillies are in first place by 2 games. Got to tip your cap to the Fighting Phils. I mean, just great squad, all around great team.
Where's the towel?
Right here.
You waving it, bro? That's not.
We're back.
Give me a wave.
I heard tonight.
Give me a legit wave. Come on. There you go.
I heard tonight is buy one get one free hot dog night. I mean, it just can't get any better for the Fighting Phillies.
Mm-hmm.
As a Braves fan, I think the year might be over for us, but hopefully we sneak into a wild card.
Wow. So you're throwing in the top. It's actually 2.5 games now, Joe.
I have a non-troll question for Joey since I just realized we're not going to get him until next Monday. Do you have any? I feel like this is a throwback to a conversation we had directly last year. Do you have any concerns about Ronald Acuna's slow start?
No.
Okay.
I don't have any concerns about Ronald Acuna ever, really. I think that you could say that about pretty much the entire lineup. I will say
he's obviously just the best dude. That's why I was.
Yeah. And he's not performing well. 118 WRC plus, still an above league average hitter, not Ronald Acuna numbers. He's not hitting the bombs, which I think is probably the main difference. But he's gonna get right, man. I'm sure if you check, I'm check his StatCast. I'm sure he's still squaring the fuck up out of balls. He's striking out a lot more than he has been.
I mean, I gotta say, maybe this is a revisit for next podcast, but like his Savant page doesn't suck, but it really is not the same as what it was last year. Like last year, it was 198 across the board, and this year it's much more up and down. His strikeout rate is way up. His ground ball rate, which I know we talked about last year, is up from even where it was last year. I don't know. I'm not necessarily concerned because he's obviously got a very, very long track record, but given that we saw him go 40-70 and win the MVP last season, I mean, a full month into the year, him being nothing like himself, power or speed-wise, really, I don't know. It's just I feel like nobody's really talked about it because everybody just assumes the Braves are going to be good, and they are good. Could be interesting. We'll see.
He's in a slump. It's, Savant pages, they're not immune to slumps either.
No doubt.
Good news is I think he's healthy. I think his swings changed a little bit. Going into the season, it looked like he did change his swing a little bit. It just looked a little different from my eyes, the eye test. I'm like the swing doctor. I'm hope he gets back to the classic Ronald we love.
Do you ever wish that he wouldn't play winter ball? It's just too much baseball?
No, I love that he plays winter ball. I think that's amazing. I don't see how that could have. What, do you think he's tired?
I mean, it's a lot of wear and tear on the body for how hard he plays the game. I know he's young and everything, but I would rather him save the bullets for the Braves.
Oh, in the Winter League, dude, he's just hitting home runs every time, jogging around the bases.
That's where the legacy is. That's where the legacy is established.
And I mean, that his family's constantly getting in beefs and fighting in the crowd and shit. That might be a little stressful.
Yeah, maybe.
But for him personally, I think his health is protected. His family in the crowd constantly fighting with players on the field and players and fans in the stands might be a lot for winter. The Braves, that's probably my main concern when it comes to winter ball.
The family,
but I also love that shit too. If you look into that, that's something we probably don't have time to cover that. But the Acuna family tree and then the antics in the winter ball, it doesn't make the American media as much, but they've had 3 beefs and they're pretty good stories.
All right. Well, next week, Joe's going to tell us about the Acuna family beefs. Did you ever finish the bunting with Bartolo?
Yes, I took 17 hours, bunted with Bartolo in every game. Pretty good. Got a little crazy. I got to hit off Dallas with the freaking baseball glove on my hand. Trolled Dallas. He wasn't there to see it, but we're like, this guy's shit. I could probably just get a hit really.
Did you clip it?
When I joined, I think you had just finished.
Finished the bunt or finished facing Dallas?
No, finish the stream. Finish the bunting.
Yeah, I finished the bunting. It took about 17 hours, finished around noon. It was honestly happened quicker than I thought it was, but yeah, I got the job done.
Yeah, just quick 17-hour stream.
Just quick.
Just
easy peasy. Only one Red Bull, too.
Oh, not to brag. Dallas, was your Oneil Cruz rant, was that your final thought?
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
Probably could be.
Yeah, that's fine. Jake's takes?
I just really hope Jayhay's Nick Gordon nugget from Marlins fans made up for that 45-minute segment we did on how their entire franchise is an embarrassment.
Let's make sure on the social clip that we post on Ripping the Marlins that we bookend it with that Nick Gordon nug.
Yeah.
I guess
fair is fair.
I'll shout out Alex Wood and Ross Stripling. I mentioned
no. Goodbye.
Both guys.
We gone.
Both guys have won a baseball game for the first time since
you already shouted that out.
22.
Yeah. We've done that nugget like 8 times.
It matters.
They've already done the game like a week
done
ago.
The A segment.
No, Stripling, right? Or did I mention Stripling?
No, I swear to God, we talked about Stripling on Thursday.
Yeah.
We can because this time last year the A's didn't have a single pitcher with a win. So it's kind of amazing. They got 2 in one weekend, I'm hearing. That's what I'm hearing.
And it hadn't happened for a while, Joe.
It's not bad.
Yeah.
I mean,
Ross Stripling won that fucking game on May 1st, man. It's May 6th.
Yeah. Get over it, dude. Anyways.
A's are the talk of the town, bro. I'm having visions.
We'll be back on Wednesday. Love you guys. Subscribe to the YouTube. Trying to get to 100,000 subscribers by the end of the week. We'll see you then.
We go.